Hey Cardfighters, Chris here from Vanguard Central, bringing you a budget Shadow Paladin deck, I guess is the best way to explain it. Just as a little starter, the main goal of the deck is to abuse Madu, and the main boss of the deck is Cursed of Witch Talisman Etain, and we'll get into those cards in a bit. So, just to get into the deck, it's extremely fun. I really enjoy playing this deck, and if it was a little bit more consistent, I might actually take it to regionals, but we'll see about that in the future. So the main card we're focusing on is Madu, and I'll explain this one just because it's useful to know what it does for the deck. So if you have a grade 10, or sorry, a 10k or less heart, then when you stride Madu, you get to choose a grade 3 from your drop zone and put it back into your hand. So you're just going to keep getting grade 3s, keep being able to stride, and specifically for this deck, you're going to keep being able to use grade 3 on-call abilities. So going to the rest of the strides, we have 2 Diablo. The 2 Diablo is mainly as a win condition. You can set it up somewhat easily in this deck, and I don't really recommend using it outside the times where you know you're going to win. Or unless you know you're going to win. We have 1 Dark Knight Efnician in the case you need to fix your field, get rid of anything ugly that you might have called, such as random triggers and things like that, and you'll see why that is in a bit. And we have 1 Blizza just for the late game. Maybe you did a lot of Madus, you did Diablo, it didn't hit, you got Blizza there to get your back. So the starter is David, and he's there because we're going to do a lot of retiring in this deck, and being able to count for 2 is super important. In fact, he's so good, we're running 3 of him. And you might think I'm crazy, but I'll show you why in a bit, so just hold on tight. The main boss of the deck is Witch of Cursed Talisman Etain, and I'll explain her skill just to help flesh out the deck a bit too. So her limit break 4 is when she is attacked. So it's actually a skill that activates on your opponent's turn. You counterblast 2 and choose 2 of your Shadow Paladin rearguards and retire them. And you get to choose one of your opponent's rearguards that is not attacking or not boosting. So something that hasn't attacked yet, something that hasn't boosted yet, you can get them out. You know, block your opponent off from getting triggers, from using some of their effects. Very good at just shutting down Aqua Force. Like, oh, you need that guy to get 4 attacks? That's so sad if something were to happen to it, wink wink. And that's why we have David, because he counts as 2, right? So we're making it much easier to use Etain's cost, and sometimes even using it multiple times per turn. So why we're running 3 is because of Sharpwing Witch Folda, who has an on-call you counterblast 1, and you search your deck for 2 grade 0s, aka Davids, and you call them to your rearguard. So you're going to be able to just search out 2 Davids from your deck and basically get 5 rearguard fodders, which is just crazy if you think about it. It's just so much advantage, provided you can actually convert it, and definitely helps set up for Etain plays later. So we have 2 of those, and you don't have to worry about striding with it just because you have Madu to get it back, or discarding it to a PG, you can get it back with Madu. Super amazing. And the last is Dark Mage Bahab Kar. Hard name to pronounce. I usually call him like BBD Babidi, like the guy in Dragon Ball Z or whatever, Babidi. When he's called to rearguard or placed on Vanguard, you get to call the top card of your deck to your rearguard. So basically getting 2 calls when you call him, and he's going to be the main card, main star of the deck, netting you extra cards every time you use Madu. You get to stride using him with Madu, get him back from the drop zone because all of our grade 3s are 10k or less, and then call him to rearguard, getting even more cards to fodder to Etain or to fodder to Diablo, the Diablo stride, anything like that. Grade 2s, we have 2 Makas. 2 Makas help us search out any grade 1s we might need, help fill up the field. Unfortunately, it's not grade 1 or less, which sucks because I really would have liked it if it could search out David, just in case we don't get the Sharp Fang Witch. Next grade 2s, we have 4 of the Generation Break 1 12k attackers, and we also have 4 of the Witch 12k attackers. And the reason we have 8 12k attackers is because of the play where you get 2 Davids into the back row. Nothing really like hits good numbers with them, and so having a bunch of 12k attackers is gonna help us hit actual columns with that. And obviously, since our boss is a witch, you don't have to worry about the name too much, since you'll generally be able to get her. For the grade 1s, we have 4 Little Witch Nemains. We're using her instead of the unflipping, even though the deck tends to counterblast a lot, partially because it's a budget deck, and partially because I really like being able to just filter through my deck, maybe getting the stride fodder that you need for the next turn, getting grade 1, grade 2, whatever you need. It can be very useful. We also have 4 Air Elemental Fwarlin. This is because wanting to stride a lot of times with Cray Elementals will slowly power him up, and with 2 he becomes a 9k booster, which works very well with all the 12k attackers, which I showed you before. Hitting for 21, making good numbers, always important. We have 3 stride fodders, just to make striding a bit more consistent, and also because Madu allows you to change them out for other grade 3s with on-call effects that you might want more than just a stride fodder and doing a generic stride like that. And lastly, we have 2 Rain Element Tier. This is a super strong card with all of the Cray Elementals we have in the G zone, because you can stride a ton and then unflip a ton. There's times where I've unflipped for almost 5 damage with this guy. Super good card, and just a tech as a 2 of, so you can search him out with Maka, or just so that you don't really need him, you just have him sometimes. For triggers, we have 4, 8, 12 criticals, just to keep applying pressure, especially with the 21 columns you're making, can be very devastating, and there's a lot of advantage gaining in the deck, so you don't really need to worry about draw triggers. And 4 heals to wrap up the deck. I hope you guys like the deck. It's definitely a favorite of mine, so if you can build it, test it out, super fun. Make sure to give us a like, it helps out a ton. Comment down below if you have any questions, any comments about the deck, and please subscribe for more content. Vanguard Central, out.